Uplift Labs has officially released single camera capture for baseball hitting assessments. So in this video, I'll be going through step-by-step how to use this new feature, when to use it, and an additional new feature which is being released with single camera capture called auto capture. First of all, what is single camera capture? Well, this is a new capture mode in the Uplift Capture app that allows you to get full 3D movement analysis from a single iPhone or iPad. No pairing that second device or setting up two devices. It greatly simplifies setup, but it still gives you full 3D analysis. Today, we're releasing the first expression of single camera capture, and that is the baseball hitting assessment. Single camera hitting assessments are great when you're in an environment where space is tight, if you only have one device available, or if you just want to simplify your setup. So let's go through the process of running a single camera assessment. First step is the same as always. You open up the Uplift Capture app, but in this case, you just have to open up on one device. Baseball hitting is under the sports performance section in the app, so I'll tap on sports performance, and you'll see I now have a 2-camera and a 1-camera toggle. If I tap on 1 camera, you'll see baseball hitting is the only option under there. So I'll select baseball hitting, and then I'll move forward. And when setting up an assessment, you follow the same steps as 2-camera. You select your athlete, you make sure the handedness is correct because that will affect where you place the cameras. You can enter the bat length if you so choose, and then you hit next, and it'll walk you through the setup process. Just like in 2-camera capture, we do require you to mount the device on a tripod in order to get a stable, high-speed video of the movement. You can mount it in portrait or landscape mode. For hitting captures, we typically recommend portrait mode. Today, the only setup option is the open side option, which means placing the camera across the plate from the athlete, recording them front on. So I'll select that option, I'll move forward, and I get a silhouette of an athlete showing me where the athlete should be positioned in the camera frame. And just like in 2-camera, the most important thing here is making sure that the athlete is fully in frame for the entire movement. Once I have my camera placed the correct distance in order to capture the athlete's full movement, then I can enter that distance, measuring between the athlete's stance to the tripod. And we always recommend, if you're capturing in the same location, to mark on the ground with tape or spray paint where you're placing your camera, measure the distance, put it on the back of your device, something so you don't have to measure every single time. The last step is to make sure that the camera is level. Once you've got the tilt locked in, then you're ready to capture. Now, Uplift Capture's typical recording modes have always kind of been 2 things. First, you can tap start and stop recording right on the screen of the device. Most of our users don't do it. So what most people have typically done is paired a Bluetooth remote control with the device and used that to start and stop recordings from wherever they're standing. A couple of months ago, we introduced the remote control option, which means you can pair another device as a remote control. And this is a really nice option, especially with single camera, because you might already have 2 devices, but it might just be more convenient to set up a single camera. You can use that second device as a remote control device. Similar to a Bluetooth clicker, you can start and stop recording, but the really nice thing about the remote, if you're capturing multiple athletes, you can finish one assessment, hit next athlete, select that next athlete, and start capturing without ever having to go to the cameras. With single camera hitting, we've introduced another option for capturing, which is auto capture. Auto capture allows to capture each of your athlete's movements without having to manually tap record. Here's how it works. To select auto capture, tap on the timer option. In this case, it's showing 5 seconds. I can tap on this. Typically, this would give me a short timer and a long timer option. Now you'll see the new auto capture option in this list. I'll tap that and you'll see that my screen changes a little bit. I no longer have the red record button in the bottom. I now have this gray indicator, which basically means standby. It's looking for an athlete in the frame. It hasn't found anyone in the frame yet. So this will remain gray until it detects an athlete walking into frame. Once an athlete walks into frame, the indicator turns green, which means it's ready, it knows someone's there, and it's watching for the movement, in this case, a swing. Now you're ready to capture. When the athlete takes a swing, it'll detect the swing, it'll automatically trim a video clip of that athlete's swing, and it will cue it for upload. You'll hear a ding when the swing is captured, and that's your cue that it's ready for the next swing. If you have the default setting to auto upload after each clip, after every swing is detected and that clip is recorded, it'll be sent to the cloud to be processed. And when you're finished with your assessment, you can either select a new athlete and run another assessment, or you can just say end and make sure all your clips have been uploaded. Now, reviewing your assessment results is basically the same for single camera as it is for dual camera, with some minor differences. In the web platform, when you navigate to the assessments view, you'll see all of your assessments in this list, but you'll see there's now a cameras column that will show whether the assessment was run with a single camera or 2 cameras, and you can sort by that column as well. So I'll open up a single camera hitting assessment. And the first thing you'll probably notice is that the first view you see is basically the same as you're used to for a dual camera assessment. We have the signals tab that's populated that surfaces the athlete's strengths, focus areas, drill recommendations if you have that option turned on. And in the panel on the right where you can go through your captures, you'll see that we still have the full 3D representation of the movement. The only difference is there's only 1 camera angle included. One difference you might notice right away is we've highlighted these headline metrics up at the very top of the summary of the assessment. These are actually a new addition to all assessments, whether it's 2 camera or 1 camera. We wanted to add a quick view of here's how the athlete did in this assessment, right at the very top, the most important or most salient metrics for that particular assessment. So you'll see those for all hitting assessments, and we're surfacing these headline metrics for other assessment types as well. The main difference in this view between a 2 camera assessment and a 1 camera assessment is you'll notice there's no breakdown tab. We just have signals and details. The main reason for this is that while single camera capture is great for quickly assessing an athlete's swing mechanics and pulling out areas of improvement, there are some measurements that are harder to track just by the nature of not having multiple camera angles, especially for a highly rotational movement like a baseball swing. We'll publish a knowledge base article soon after release that goes into more detail on these metrics, but because of those differences, we're leaning more heavily on the signals output and the headline metrics at the top of the assessment view for single camera assessments, both of which rely on metrics we're very confident in. If you'd really like a full breakdown of a single camera hitting assessment, you can still load up an assessment in the hitting dashboard, and you'll notice the dashboard now includes a note about how many cameras were used for the assessment you're viewing. Since 1 and 2 camera assessments may differ in some metrics, we definitely advise you to keep that in mind when you're tracking a player's progress using this dashboard view if you've switched between 1 and 2 camera assessments over the course of time. If you don't see this note on number of cameras at the top of your hitting dashboard, you've probably created that dashboard in the past. It's a good idea to refresh the dashboard if you just go and create a new hitting dashboard from the template in the dashboard view. It includes all the same charts and information. Some of them are just updated. We've made some improvements to some of the charts, and you'll get this 1 camera or 2 camera note at the top. It's always not a bad idea to refresh your dashboards every once in a while, just pulling the latest template. We do make minor changes. They're usually not huge, but often they'll improve the look and feel of the dashboard. So that's the overview of the new single camera capture for baseball hitting, how to set it up in the app, how to facilitate a single camera capture assessment, and how to review the results in the web platform. From all of us at Uplift, we're excited to see how single camera and auto capture expand your ability to evaluate your athlete's movement in full 3D to improve performance and efficiency and keep your athletes moving healthily.